All right, welcome. We are here, part two of building urgency. I'm going to wait a couple seconds for people to keep joining here. Welcome everyone watching on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook. Welcome to everyone here. Awesome. So part two, a couple days ago, what's today? Wednesday, Monday, we talked about creating urgency, and that was part one of creating urgency. We're going to go over the next three. Today, we're going to talk about how to create urgency with customers and sales, any kind of sales, and how to really work to get people talking to you again if they've already fallen off of the radar or kind of giving you the cold shoulder. So let's talk about this. First of all, I want to reiterate creating urgency, motivating a customer or client, it really is about soliciting an emotional response. Sales is an emotional thing. You like it, you want it, you buy it. That's most of it, right? There's also some fact-driven stuff. There's also stuff based on needs, wants, fears, motivations, but sales is emotional, right? Sales is emotional. So what I want to do is I want to tap into that emotional component of the customer, of the client, and see how I can help them to achieve their goals. And as always, we cannot help the client if we don't know the client. If we don't know and we haven't uncovered what their needs, wants are, what their motivations are, what their fears are. So understand and know your clients, because if you don't do that, you're not going to get really anywhere in the sales process. Okay, so that being said, let's talk about act now. Tap into that. There's a reason why they wanted to do something, perform an action, get you to do the buyer consultation. There's a reason why they reached out, why they asked the question. There's a reason why they like your videos or commented on your post about that new home or that new product. There's a reason why. Tap into that. And what I want you to do is the act now. What is the cost, the reward? What is the penalty? What is the benefit of acting now as opposed to acting later or waiting? Is it that the interest rate may fluctuate? Is it that only this month there's a particular sale going on? What is that act now cue? What is that act now thing? How can I get them to want to act now? Is it a new home on the market that will not be available forever? Is it a new interest rate? Is it a new government program that has limited funding? What is it? And I want you to focus your social media efforts, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube efforts around that messaging. In my area, we had a fantastic program that was a first-time home buyer program, up to $35,000 for select home buyers. You had to be a first-time home buyer, have a certain credit score, and have a full-time job. If you could do that, meet those criteria, you get some money. We were pushing that heavy, and we actually got several sales just from pushing that product, that situation. But let me tell you this, we got even more buyers that we talked to that didn't even need that program. That wasn't the best program for them, but they were talking to us because of that marketing. There are communities in your area. There are locations in your area. There are programs. There are new builders. There are opportunities in your area that if you begin to advertise and market those opportunities, you're going to get buyers and sellers, customers that are interested in that one. But when you get to know them, hey, act now on this. As you get to know them, boom, they're a perfect candidate for another product or another location or another community or another opportunity. But because you use the act now, you got them into your funnel, which is fantastic. So I like act now as a tactic. These are all tactics that can work to really build urgency and excitement around a product. Okay, the hot new thing. This is number two, the hot new thing similar to Act Now. The hot new thing is advertising new programs. I actually just talked about this in the last one, Act Now, kind of together in that one. But the hot new thing is good because, again, I can advertise that. So I'll tell you how I like to market the hot new thing. When I try to market the hot new thing, I first do a couple of teaser videos out there talking about the product or what that product is. I talk about some financing available for that thing, but I talk about how that is different than other products, right? Right now, we have a fantastic community in my area called Onyx. Okay, it is a um, full cement house that is built in Miami and then made assembled here in Claremont. Those properties have a fantastic low interest rate. They have a low insurance rate. They're great, and the prices are still really competitive. So that's the hot new thing that I'm going hard on: marketing, advertising. If you look at my YouTube channel, I have the property tours, I have community highlights, I have a lot of Groveland, Claremont stuff because that's the community I'm focusing on. When I go to a customer, then I can send that video and go, hey man, I know we haven't talked in a while. Check out this hot new product I have, this hot new house in this community. When is a good time for us to chat? So when I can do that, I can really open up some doors with that. And that's going to put me into my next phase, which is be the solution. When I'm talking about creating urgency, I'm talking about being a solution to a problem. With be the solution, I have to expose their problem, right? Hey, John, we were talking, are you still renting? Okay, when's your lease up? Oh, it's up this. Oh man. Well, listen, I've got a property now. What are you renting for? 2100. I've got a property now that for only around 26, you could be buying your first home with no down payment. How does that sound? What do you mean? Well, if we're putting a down payment down, you're going to be putting about anywhere from 15 to $20,000. What if you just didn't do that and I got you the property for only $500 more on your mortgage? That sounds good, right? Now I'm being a solution to a problem. And no, I'm not lying. There are USDA loans available that can get you a first time, can get you for a 0% down loan in rural areas, Claremont, Groveland area, my target market right now. Again, these are opportunities which I'm trying to sell. As a salesperson, I almost barely sell a product. What I sell is an opportunity. I sell a solution. I sell an upgrade, right? I'm selling things that are not homes. I'm selling the opportunity. I'm selling the next thing, the next adventure in your life. I'm selling emotions, the American dream. The American dream has funded and sold more property, items, things than any other marketing campaign in human history, right? The American dream, right? And that's what I'm trying to sell. So again, when I'm trying to create urgency, I'm going to use the act now tactic, the hot new thing tactic, and the be the solution tactic. And you can even combine some of these guys. We talked about we talked about last on Monday. We talked about using facts, a consistent message, and finding a unicorn for them. Watch that episode if you don't know what I'm talking about. But in this episode, act now, the hot new thing, and be the solution. Now let's combine these. So, John, I'm going to do them in different order, but combine some of these topics, some of these cues. Okay, I'm going to use them as cues here. John, are you still renting? Yeah. Well, for how much? 21. Well, listen, John, I don't know if this might interest you, but I've got brand new construction here in Claremont, brand new beautiful homes. I just sent you the video, and you could actually buy that product now for almost the same as you're renting, a little bit more. But the great thing is you don't have to have a down payment. So I use there, be the solution to his rental. I use there the hot new thing, and now I'm going to do the act now. Well, John, listen, they've got an introductory rate now. This may change, but right now it's 3.99 with a USDA or FHA loan. Um, when can we go see them? When are you free? Well, Ronnie, I just don't know right now. Okay, listen, no problem. I totally understand that right now you may not be thinking about this, but John, what are you gonna do when? And now I'm gonna go into the things that we talk about on the podcast, things that we talk about on this morning huddle, right? Into the emotional part. What are you gonna do when you have to renew your lease contract and you are at the same rate or a higher rent? That makes no sense, man. So let's go look at a new opportunity for you. If they keep giving you the objections, then we go through our objection handlers that we talk about on the podcast, on the show. So what I want to give to you guys are just a couple of tools to put into your tool belt to help you to overcome some of these objections. If I can give you one or two new tools, that's the point of the morning huddle, is to of the morning success call, is to give you guys some new tools that you can utilize to close deals. So again, creating urgency in a prospect is what you have to do if they begin to ghost you. Now, if they begin to ghost you, you got to recognize that and reach out. The sales cycle can be uh, unforgiving. They may tell you they don't want to buy, and they go buy of somebody else. They may say they're not looking, but if the right home comes up on the market, they'll pull the trigger on it. And they'll pull the trigger with the person who showed them sometimes. So unless you are consistently trying to engage your client, you're not going to get very far unless you use these steps to create urgency and drive your client to act. One point I have on here is have a clear direction on what you want the client to act on. Do you want them to fill out the application? Do you want them to commit to a showing? Do you want them to commit to a buyer consultation, to a listing consultation? As I progress through my game plan, I'm going to get them to act on what I want them to act on. So, John, right now we have this great program. Again, 3.99, no down payment. When's a good time for us to meet at the property and set that appointment? Do not hesitate to set a time and a date for that appointment. Push. Well, I'll talk to my wife. Well, when you talk to your wife, what time are you thinking? Because I have a schedule that I have to keep, and I want to make sure I have time available for you, right? At that point, I'm trying to get them to commit to the appointment. When's a good time for us to review the application? When's a good time for us to meet for a cup of coffee, right? I'm trying to get them to commit to that thing. And I want to be very direct and aggressive in this communication. There's a reason why I want to be direct and aggressive, and that goes back to human psychology. And we know this because of all the studies that have been done. In the time that I am trying to convince them to act now, I want to immediately try to book an action because they're in the mind frame of acting. So I don't want to wait until later and pull it off. Most salespeople are pretty meek. They're not aggressive in this case. They want to just pull the reins back. I want to pull the reins harder. As soon as I am beginning to engage with them and getting them to act, at that point, I want them to commit to the appointment. And you'll find great success if you get them to commit immediately as opposed to having them commit later on. So commitment is key when I'm getting them to act. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Please feel free to write the questions in the comments. I listen to every question and I read every review. So I appreciate that. And I'll see you guys on the next one, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. All right, guys. Cheers.